My primary social identities are mother, grandmother, community health worker, mental health, and I do struggle with my own bias all the time. I am a gender fluid person who uses she, they pronouns. I primarily identify as, or present, I should say, as a female. And I dress mostly like a woman for work professionally. And even though I know all of this about myself and about others, I still do sometimes struggle when I have a client who presents in a way that is different, at least to me, than their way that they want to be perceived. And that is a bias that I have that I struggle with on a pretty regular basis. I also struggle with equality versus equity. I grew up thinking that if everybody got the same thing, then everybody would get to the same spot in life. And it has taken me a lot of my life to unlearn that and realize that equity is a level playing field. And to level a field, if you grew up in a farm like I did, means that you're going to be filling in where there's gaps and trimming some off the top where there's mounds, and that's uncomfortable for everybody. So, but it does actually bring it level, and that is the whole point. So some people will get more, and some people will maybe get moved back behind the finish line a little farther just because of the privilege that they have, and that would be equity. And that I run up against that in myself all the time when I'm trying to make sure that my clients have equal access to things and equitable access to things. Some people will need more help, and some people need less help, and it's just a constant struggle between equity and equality. Just making sure everybody has what they need to get to where they need to go in life. One of the things I wanted to talk a little bit about in this, and I think this is relevant to this discussion, is human rights, basic, human agency. And my job, I've talked a little bit about my job here and in posts, but I am a case manager for a mental health facility in a rural New Hampshire town, and thankfully more diverse and more liberal than the one that I grew up in South Dakota, but still with its own set of challenges. And one of the things that I have to do on a pretty regular basis is take away people's basic human rights. And I'll explain that. If somebody is a danger to themselves or to others, they can be involuntarily admitted to the state hospital here in New Hampshire in Concord. And they can then be discharged when they become stable enough. They can be discharged absolutely, which means that they are discharged and free to go on with their lives, or they can be discharged conditionally, and that means that while they are conditionally discharged, it's kind of like being out on parole, or even maybe out on bail is more accurate. And if you violate the conditions, then you can have that revoked and be sent back to the hospital. Usually it requires being a danger to yourself or to others. But often it is very traumatic to the client, and also for myself, because I strongly believe people should be able to be how they ever want to be in society, as long as they're not hurting anybody. But it's the as long as they're not hurting anybody thing that when that line is crossed, we do revoke their conditional discharges. We do take away their human rights, and they are put back involuntarily into the hospital until they are stabilized once again. And that runs directly up against my own sense of individualism that I grew up, again, in my little tiny rural town in South Dakota, that, we all basically are our own beings out on this planet, and somebody telling us what to do is not a thing that I grew up with liking or even feeling was fair. And so that is a challenge that I deal with on a pretty regular basis.